Hello and welcome to Jackson's Job. Today we are going to learn how to make these crescent rolls using our easy dough recipe. These are really easy to do and you're going to love how they turn out. This will be the last of our easy dough recipes unless you guys ask for more. In a large bowl we are going to add in some warm milk. It is going to be warm to 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 43 degrees Celsius. That's lukewarm. We need 3/4 of a cup of milk, 180 milliliters. You can use any type of milk you like, from fat-free to full fat. Even buttermilk works great. Next, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of softened butter. That's 28 grams. I'm using butter, but you can use vegetable oil spread or margarine for this recipe. They both work out well. To that, we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of oil, 30 milliliters. This just gives you some structure, flavor, and some fat. Every bread recipe tastes better with just a little bit of fat. Next, we're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of instant dry yeast. That's 4.5 grams. To that, we're going to add in a little bit of salt for flavor and structure, 1.5 teaspoons, 2.5 grams. For broiling purposes and just a hint of sweetness, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, 25 grams. If you want to, you can reduce the sugar, but don't eliminate it entirely. Finally, we're going to add in 2 cups of flour, 300 grams. Now, I weigh my flour out to be 300 grams. Other people weigh theirs out to be a variety of sources. Go by my measurements, not by other people's, because I have tried this both ways and you need that full 300 grams. You're going to mix this together with the back of a spoon or just your hands like I'm doing here. You can also put this in a stand mixer. As I've said before, you want to knead it 8 to 12 minutes until it is nice and smooth and elastic. But we're doing this by hand, so we are just going to gather this up until it forms a nice shaggy dough, and it should come away from the bowl quite easily. We're going to turn this out onto a clean work surface and we are going to begin to knead it. Now, as you begin to knead this, the butter may want to come out of the dough. That's okay. Just fold it back in place. It'll work its way through. This is a very sticky dough, so it's going to want to stick to your counter and your hands at first. But as you work the flour into the liquid, it will become less sticky and it will be very smooth and elastic. Don't add any flour for at least the first 5 minutes of kneading. Please give me that much time. When the dough is ready, it will no longer stick to your hands and it will stretch really far before it starts tearing. We are now going to cover this and let it rise until it is about double in size. This can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours, and that depends on the temperature of your room and the type of yeast you're using. If you're using that rapid rise yeast, it could happen really quick, so just keep an eye on it. When it is ready, it'll puff up in size and look like this, and when you press into it, it will hold the indents, but it will not collapse or bounce back. You want to roll the dough into a 15-inch or 38-centimeter circle. You can pat it by hand, it will take you a lot longer, or you can use a rolling pin. If it starts to stick to the counter at any time here, sprinkle a little bit of flour underneath the dough. Now, the shape does not have to be a precise or exact circle. You just want it as good as you can get it. So if you have one little indent here or there, it's okay. Now you're going to add 2 tablespoons or 28 grams of melted butter to the top of this dough. You can use the back of a spoon or a pastry brush, works great here. Don't add any more than this, because if you do, it will just simply unfurl as it's baking. I know this because I've baked dozens of these and it happens every time I try to add more butter. Now, if you don't want to put the butter here, you don't have to. You can leave it out entirely. It'll be still really good, but it'll taste more like a roll and less like a crescent roll. And if you want to use vegetable oil spread or margarine in place of the butter, that is perfectly fine. You also could sprinkle on some sugar and some cinnamon and make you a sweet treat if you liked. Once you have the butter all spread out, you want to let this sit for a good 5 minutes or until that butter takes on a matte-like finish. Do not roll this up right away or the butter will just spread out all over the countertop. Once the butter has set for about 5 to 10 minutes, you then want to cut this into 8 wedges. I like to use a pizza cutter because it's a lot easier, but you can do a knife as well. If your countertop is not a granite or a hard surface, be careful cutting so you don't mar your surface. You are then going to roll these up, starting at the fat end and ending at the little triangle point, and you are going to curve them slightly to create a crescent shape. You can put these on an ungreased baking sheet, or I like to use parchment paper because it's just easier cleanup. Just take your time here and roll it up slowly. Do not roll it up tightly, just gently, because if you roll it up tightly, it will want to unfold in the baking. Do this for all 8 pieces. Once you get all 8 pieces rolled out, you are going to cover this and let it sit for 30 to 60 minutes or until it's double in size. While it is sitting, you want to go ahead and preheat that oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. Once they have doubled in size, remove your cover and place them in your preheated oven for 18 to 24 minutes or until they are a nice golden brown. They will look so pretty when you're done. Look at these. I didn't even do an egg wash, which if you wanted to, you could, but I don't find it necessary. Let them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before you move them. Let's open one of these up and see what it looks like. These are so tender and flaky, and as you unravel them, you will have fun eating them. They are just a great little crescent roll. Now let's do some troubleshooting. If you don't let these rise enough, or you put in too much butter, or you put them in too hot of an oven, they are going to unravel like this, and you're going to have little hats instead of crescent rolls. They will still taste great, but they just don't look right. One thing you can do if you're struggling with this is just simply put the pointed side down when you put them on your tray before they rise. Jackson, Raymond, and Maggie has all shown up to try this bread. They cannot wait. They think it's absolutely delicious, and I think you guys will like it just as much as they do. I really hope this has showed you how easy this dough recipe is and how many things you can make with it. What will you be making with it? Will you be making some donuts? Will you be making crescent rolls? Or will you just be making some dinner rolls? Whatever you can dream up, you can make with this recipe. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make crescent rolls. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy baking.